Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Now, when these individuals talk about the Romans and the Greeks, and they talk about them, and they don't understand the history of the Romans and the Greeks. When you go into the Maccabees, they give you a lot of details about the Greeks. But let's go into Daniel and let's get the most important detail in history. Let's see here. Let me get the book of Daniel. I think in the 8th chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8. And I'm going to start at verse 21. It say, and a rough goat is the king of Grecia or Greece, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now when you go into the Maccabees, it tells you that this king, Maccabees 1:1, this king was Alexander the Great. And so that lets you know what perspective you need to look at the Grecians. Their first king started with Alexander the Great. So that's the kingdom of the Greeks. So from there, the so-called Romans went and took over the Greek land and everything when they came into power. But see, those are two lands. Greece is a country. It's not a people. It was never a people. No man named Greece. There was no famous man named Greece, and all the descendants of the so-called Greece that lived in that land. That ain't who them people was. Same thing with the Romans. The people that were living in Rome, it was different nations that was there. You see, because the Romans had took over a lot, and a lot of the people was in the army, in the military, and they would go to Rome. And so those are just titles or countries based on the landmass. Rome was based on the Romans. That name came from people being from Rome. And the Greeks, that name came from people being in Greece. But the people that was running the society and ruling the society, they had a specific bloodline. And so when people say Romans and the Greeks, you're really not talking about the actual people that was ruling, see. And so let's get Maccabees 1:1 say Alexander the Great was a Macedonian. Okay, so let's see who else was a Macedonian. And I'm thinking it says this in Esther, but it might be the addition with Esther. But let's check Esther real quick and see if it's in the 66 books. It might be in the 66 book. Okay, so the 66 books don't use the word Macedonian. Okay, but the connection is Haman. Haman was a Macedonian. And so when you go into the editions of Esther, one of the main reasons they took Esther out of the Bible, because it lets you know that it was different bloodlines that came from Amalek and Esau. And so when you're talking about Haman, he was trying to take over the kingdom of the Persians in the book of Esther. And so Haman in the Bible, it gives his nationality and what bloodline he came from. When you go into Esther chapter 3. Esther chapter 3 talks about Haman. Now, chapter 3, verse 1, it says, and look at this King James that I got, it says, the conspiracy of Haman. See, they always work on conspiracy. After these things did King Azarias promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him. So he went back to the kingdom of Agag. So Haman went back to the kingdom of Agag, and he was also a Macedonian. The Macedonians took over, or the kingdom of Agag was calling themselves the Macedonians because they was living in Macedonia, the landmass. See, they always, let's get that in Psalms, because you got to know how these people operate. See, King David knew it, and he told the secret. This is how they hide themselves. And we're going to get that in Jeremiah 49. Let's see here. Psalms 49 and 11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generation. They call their lands after their own names. And so, when you look at some of these lands, some of them are named after people, but also they go with a landmass, the name of a land, and they put that to their name, see. And the land ain't who they are. Same thing with so-called America. Before America was here, the people was from another place and a bloodline. They had an identity before America was even established. But they came over here, they named it America, now they calling themselves American, when that's not who they are, that's not their bloodline, that's not their nation that they came from. Now, when you go into Jeremiah, let's get Jeremiah. We're going to go back to this Agag after we get this Jeremiah. Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 49 and verse 10. It say, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. You see, that's what King David was saying in Psalms. Their dwelling places. See, they have to try to hide themselves by naming themselves after the dwelling place. And they didn't name the dwelling place after their forefather, because Esau is trying to hide himself. So when you look at Agag and where Agag came from, because we're still talking about Haman and Agag, but Agag came from Esau. That's why these people are trying to hide their identity. Let's see, Samuel, is it 1 Samuel? Yeah, 1 Samuel chapter 15. Let's get straight to the point. Verse 8, it says, he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. Okay, so who is this Amalekites? Who are the Amalekites? Now we got Haman being from Agag, a son of Agag, and Agag being a son of Amalekite. So let's go to Exodus and see who these Amalekites is. Exodus chapter 17. Exodus 17:14. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Verse 15. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nisi. 16. For he said, because the Lord has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So, just letting you know, Haman was a Amalek, and he was trying to exterminate the Israelites, because he was from that bloodline, but that the Lord would say the Israelites would always war with these people. And so when you go to Genesis 36, it lets you see who Amalek was. And it's not hard to trace the bloodline. It's an easy task. Let's see, 36, and get straight to the point. Straight to the point. Let's get verse 15. 36 and 15. It say, these were dukes of the sons of Esau. And it names Teman, Eliphaz. Then in verse 16 it say Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. So the Amalekites was coming from Esau. So you go from Esau to Amalek, and Macedonian to Alexander the Great, to the Greeks, and those same people took over the landmass of Rome, because the Romans and the Greeks are the same people. Because you see, you had Herod, one of the kings in Rome, and he was a certified Edomite. And Herod was a big family that was in the mix, but that lets you know that those were Edomite. And so when you look at the Greeks and the Romans, it really was never no Greeks or Romans. That's just where that's the name of the land. But the people that was inheriting the land, they was Edomites trying to hide their identity. You see, that's why the Lord said he gonna make Esau bare, and expose his secret places. You see, because his secret place is to hide behind the name. Now, when you're talking about the true identity of these nations, This is why it's important. When you look at starting at verse 2 here in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ or Yahushua is at hand. Verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there be a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. In verse 6 it say, and now ye know that what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. Jump down to verse 8. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So this wicked, this son of man of sin, this son of perdition or destruction, is why we gotta reveal who these so-called Romans or Greeks are, and they are the Edomites. I'm gonna leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.